Hello people, how are you? Well, this is a short video class and the intention of it is to finish Unit 2. So please, to start this class, I want you to open your books. Please open your books in page 22. Yes, it's page 22, Grammar Focus. Remember that in the grammar section for these units, we've been talking about verb patterns, yes? As you can see here, verb patterns, ing and the infinitive form, yes? So, let's go to exercise 3, that is book page 22, exercise 3. Remember the uses of ing and infinitive. Yes, I'm not going to go through this again because we already talked about it in class. So we need to go to this exercise 3. Match the examples from A to E. These are the examples. They were from activity 2 with the rules 1 to 5. Okay? Here we have some of the uses of ing and the infinitive, yes. So we use ing after some verbs, yes. For example, the verb enjoy. Remember, the verb enjoy refers to a feeling. After the verbs of feelings like enjoy, love, hate, like, we have an ing form, yes. We enjoy doing the same things, this example says. After prepositions, yes, and the example is C. I once felt worried about being alone with him. Yes, about is the preposition and the verb is being. Felt worried about being alone with him. After every preposition, we use an ing form. And then after some expressions, like example B, it's a waste of time, okay? Waste of time is the expression, yes? After waste of time, we use a gerund or an infinitive form like here, saying. It's a waste of time saying anything to him, okay? Then we have the use of infinitive. Infinitive with to. Remember that we have two types of infinitive. But in this case, infinitive with to. Used after some verbs. The example is E. I've offered to teach him a sport. The verb is offer. After the verb offer, we need a to infinitive. Remember that there are some verbs, for example, need, want, that follow the rule. He needs to do his homework. Or the teacher wants the student to do their homework, okay? Or I want to buy a new car. And then we have after verb plus object is A. I'd like him to move house. Here we have the verb structure, like, and the object is him, and to move house. It's just like the example I just told you, yes? For example, the teacher wants the students to do their homework during this time. The student is the object. Okay, let's go on. It is just to start it, a revision, yes? But please, pay attention to the language tip. Some verbs, for example, make and let are followed by object plus infinitive without to. Remember that this infinitive is also called bare infinitive, okay? I made her tidy up. The teacher let us leave earlier, for example. After verbs, for example, love can be followed by ing or infinitive with little or no change in meaning, okay? I love writing or I love to write. Well, I was reading about it, but something very similar happens with the verb like, and what I read is that, or what I learned, I can say, is that when we have a to infinitive after these verbs, like, for example, the verb like, it means that this person thinks that this action is correct. For example, I can say, I like to pay my bills as soon as possible, okay? Because I think it is correct. In some other occasions, it's because I want something specific at this time. I want to buy, no, sorry, I like to go on holiday to London. Okay, well, not at this time, but maybe in another. In these cases, we can use a to or an ing, but please don't think a lot about it. Just take it easy, yes? Try to learn from reading, try to learn from the examples, and don't go deep into grammatical theories because you're going to get confused, as I've already told you in class. And to form a negative, use not before the verb, yes? I hate not going, okay? He told me not to go, okay? Or I can say, she loves reading, or she hates not reading, okay? That can be another example. And well, let's go on. Here you have, yes, to revise verbs with ing or with infinitive with a change of meaning. Remember that some verbs admit or to infinitive or an ing, but there is a change in their meaning, okay? Let me make it quite bigger, yes? Let's see. My mother stopped making or to make lunch because the phone rang. And my mother stopped making or to make lunch because we were hungry. Yes, well, my mother stopped making lunch because the phone rang. It means that there was an action in progress and the mother in this case had to stop, yes, to do another action. Let's see, in this case the correct option is making, okay? That is to discontinue an activity, to stop doing an activity to do something else. And my mother stopped to make lunch, stopped to make something else, okay? Or I can say, for example, here there is a very clear example. That is when we use stop plus ing. Is like stop a habit, for example, a bad habit like smoking. I can say Frank stopped smoking, okay? And then we have stop to. I can say he stopped to smoke because he felt the necessity to go and have a cigarette. But the idea is that then he's going to get back and continue with what he was doing, okay? For example, he was watching a movie and he stopped to smoke a cigarette outside. That is to stop doing something, to do another thing, but then get back to the previous action. Then we have that tried. Let me make it bigger, yes? I don't know if you can read it quite well, but let's make it bigger. That tried phoning or to phone, but nobody answered. And that tried phoning or to phone, but he couldn't remember the number, so he gave up. So let's see. Here it is, the correct option is phoning. That tried phoning, but nobody answered. That means that did something as an experiment, okay? He tried to phone, but nobody answered. And in the second one, it is to phone because it means that tried to phone but he couldn't remember the number, so he gave up. Is that made an effort to do something difficult, okay? It was difficult for him to remember the number, okay? And then we have the kids remembered buying or to buy. Let's zoom it up, yes? The kids remembered buying or to buy grandma a present and write a card for her. And the kids remembered buying or to buy grandma a present but couldn't find it later. So let's see. In the first case it is to buy because it refers forward in time, okay? It means that the action of remembering includes a future or a next action, okay? They remember and did the next thing. That is, the kids remember and went to buy grandma a present. And in the second one, the kids remembered buying, that is to refer back to the past, that is like a memory, okay? And then we have, two more examples. Well, let me see. My father went on having or to have children until he was in his 60s, or my father went on having or to have children with my stepmother. Let's see, having. My father went on having children until he was in his 60s. That is to continue an action and started action. And then my father went on to have children with my stepmother. That is, he changed the activity. Maybe maybe your father or the father of this person already had some children with this person's mom, and then he decided to change wives in this case and to have children. That is to change the activity, okay? That an activity that was in progress. I can also say, for example, the teacher went on teaching the present simple. That is, the teacher was teaching the present simple. He stopped and then he got back and continued with the explanation. And in the second case, I can say the teacher went on to teach the present simple. That is, the teacher was doing something, then he stopped doing it and started doing a new action, yes? That is the difference. I think my examples were more clear, or were clearer, in fact, than this one. I regret to tell you that all train services have been cancelled. That is, I regret to tell you that all train services have been cancelled. That is, to tell used to give bad news. I regret to inform you that you didn't pay the bill and we had to stop the service. And then in this case, telling. I regret telling you because now you're upset. That is, it refers to the past, okay? Used to refer to something you're sorry about. That is something that happened previously and you want to mention and say that you feel sorry. I regret telling you because now you're upset. Okay, hope you understand it all and could finish with it all. So what comes next? Next we have some activities, yes, some practice. Let's practice. This is from the book, page 22, exercise 6. Complete the text with the ing form or the infinitive of the verb in brackets, okay? Here you have to put into practice what we have been teaching or what we've been talking about. So this exercise I'm going to check next Monday, yes. Remember that we have an online class by Skype on Monday at 11 a.m. That is what you said. And I want to start the class with these exercises so as to finish with the topic. And then we have collaborative task and discussion, agreeing and disagreeing, okay? This is from the book, page 23, exercise 3. Copy and complete the table with the phrases in the box. Which of the expressions of agreement are uncertain? Okay, here we have a list, okay? A very complete list, I would say, of expressions that we use to show agreement or disagreement, or in some occasions to ask opinion, to encourage somebody to give their opinion, yes? So, let's see. Anyway, if you have any doubt, sorry, this is something that I have to tell you. We don't have doubts, we have queries. We are in doubt. That is a great mistake that a gross mistake I would say that I always commit. You say, I have queries, but you are in doubt, okay? That is, English speakers say that doubt is a state, not a possession. So, maybe if you are in doubt or you have any query about it, we can revise the topic in the online class. So do I and neither do I. These two expressions are used to show agreement. So do I is used to show that you did something positively, and neither do I that you didn't do something. I can say, for example, you get home or you get to the next class and you say, I think English is great, and one of your classmates answers, so do I. But if you say, I don't like English, and one of your classmates may answer, neither do I, okay? That is, so do I means in Spanish, yo también, and neither do I, yo tampoco, okay? I am not convinced when you say, or when you are in doubt, when you think that what the arguments of the other person are not enough for you to get the idea, or for you to agree with the other person. For example, what can I say? I hope you all think my classes are good, and one of you say, well, I'm not convinced, I need some more classes to say so, okay? That's very true, yes, when you want to show agreements. Good point again, to show agreement. I'm not sure about that. Well, I'm not sure about that is quite similar to I'm not convinced, okay? I see what you mean, but I think, well, we use this structure, yes, to say that you understand the viewpoint of another person, but you still don't share his or her ideas. Well, I suppose so. I suppose so is really like, so do I. Or, for example, I can say, I suppose we have to be at home during this quarantine period. And somebody answers, I suppose so. Okay, but is really like, I see what you mean, but, okay. What about you? Well, I always ask it to my students. What about you when somebody gives a viewpoint and wants others to give them, okay? What's your view on that? Okay, very similar to what about you. I haven't thought of that. In some cases, especially in exam times, when somebody asks you something and you want to take your time to answer, you can say, I hadn't thought of that. I need some more time to think, yes. It is life saving, yes. Especially when you're asked something and you need to answer quite fast. Well, you can use it to gain some time to answer. Well, exactly, very common, and well, actually very similar to I see what you mean, but that is actually is not actual, pero en realidad, ojo con actually, que es un false friends. Let me explain you what are false friends. And maybe you know, but false friends are words that are very similar to Spanish words, but they don't mean the same. They mean they are totally different. Actualmente in English is nowadays or currently, not actually. And the same happens with other, for example, sensible and sensitive are very confusing because sensitive is sensible and sensible is sensato, so be careful. Well, actually is when you think or when you understand somebody else's argument or viewpoint, but you don't agree with him or her, his or her viewpoint, okay? So these expressions are merely or purely for a speaking class, So that is the intention for next Monday's online class. I want you to think about this and to put into practice all these expressions. These expressions enrich your language and makes it smoother, yes? It makes it more fluent. Remember, I always tell this to my students, that fluency is not how fast you speak, but how well you do it. That is, and wellness, when time comes to talk about speaking, is the exact balance between grammar and pronunciation and good lexic, and this all has to do with it. It enriches your vocabulary and your language. Use them, yes. Don't use the same. I always use the same exactly, okay, but the others I try not to use because I'm used to some of them, but I have to use them every day. Well, let's go to the next slide. Yes, listening and speaking. In this unit we talk about family, relationships, and well, here you can see some pictures of different people, and maybe you can guess what their relationships are, yes? This is from the book, page 23, exercise 1. Look at the photos and read the text below. What relationship does each photo show? Talk to each other about the effect this relationship can have on people's lives, then decide which relationship has the most influence. Well, I want you to think about it and be ready to talk next class, yes? I want you to think about this relationship. Maybe if you're following this presentation with the book, you'll see or you'll know that this picture is not in the book, but I also think that when time comes to talk about relationships, we have to talk about friends too. Not the series, but our relation with our friends. And please do exercise 2, yes, from the very same page, page 23. Here you have to listen to Alana and Federico. Which relationships are they discussing? Why they think they are important? Okay, here you have the listening, yes? And let me tell you this, because I haven't told you this. I'm going to upload this class. Well, you know that this class is uploaded, otherwise you can watch it. But next to the class is the PowerPoint presentation for you to go through it and listen to this activity. Yes, here you have the audio. Yes, we're not going to listen to it right now because it's going to be useless. It's like an activity for you to do and tell me the answers, okay? So go to the PowerPoint and listen to the audio. Let's go on.
Unit 2.
No.
Speak.
Okay. Listening and speaking. This is from the book, page 23, exercise 5. Okay, this is speaking part. So this is what I want you to do next Monday on next Monday's class. That is to think about these questions and be ready to give your opinion next class. Which people do you think have had the most influence on different stages of your life, okay? Do families sometimes get closer as they get older? Why not? Is it better to have older or younger parents? What do you think? What are the advantages and disadvantages of belonging to a big family? Please, be ready to talk about it and be ready to talk briefly about this, because remember that we're going to have just a 1 hour class and we're not going to have much time to go through speaking. The idea is to spend all the time in speaking but and checking some homework that I am giving you right now, but be ready to go straight to the point, and the idea is for you all to have at least some time to give your viewpoint, and I want the others to comment on others' opinion. I really think I am better now than the previous days. First I had a cold, then I have a sort of sore throat. Not a cough, but a sore throat. And here is writing semi-formal, part 1. It is from the book, page 24, exercise 3. Yes? Well, remember that you didn't do the writing task from the previous unit. Okay, so that is something I'm going to talk with you next. Well, what is a semi-formal letter? They say that we write semi-formal letters when there is a connection between an old person, an adult, with a teenager, or with somebody who is young and needs to write to somebody. Yes. And semi-formal it is because it accepts some expressions from both register from the informal styles and from the formal style. As the word says, semi, it is in between, it is in the middle. Remember that in the previous writing task, we talked about informal writing. So now we're going to make reference to semi-formal letter. The structure. First of all, the title. We start with Dear Mr. Banks or Dear Mrs. Jones. Remember that we have the title, Mr. or Mrs., and then we have the surname of the person. We never write the name. Okay. The very first paragraph is for you to give your reason. Why are you writing? Okay, that is so important for English speakers. They go straight to the point. They don't run in the bushes. Yes, be careful with all that. Then you can have 2 or 3 paragraphs with the details for your writing. That is, these 2 paragraphs are going to be the support of the first one. Are going to be the details, the reasons in further details while you're writing. Then you have a closing sentence, for example, I hope this is acceptable, and singing off. You can end with yours sincerely or with your faithfully. Then I'm going to explain what is the difference between these 2 expressions. And the name, okay? The name is the made up, that is the signature, and then you write in clearer. This is from internet, so you're not going to find it on the book, but this is from the book. So here you have 2. It is from book, page 24, exercise 3. Say whether the following phrases would be appropriate for an informal letter or email, or semi-formal letter or email, or both. Okay, so let's see. I prefer and I'd rather. I always tell my students that I prefer is slightly or fairly more formal than I'd rather stay. If I have to choose, I would use I prefer to stay. Yes, all the time. I'd rather is really quite informal. And my preference would be to stay. From these 3, this is the most formal one. The one that you're going to choose if you have to write an email or a semi-formal letter. I prefer to is also acceptable. I wouldn't say it isn't, but if you can use this one, my preference would be to stay. But try not to use I'd rather stay, because it's just for very informal letters or emails, maybe with your friends. My interests include I enjoy playing. Okay, enjoy playing. Here we have a verb of feeling. Remember that in these kinds of letters, it is not good to show your feelings, so don't use feeling verbs then. So use this. My interest includes, okay? I can say I enjoy playing football with friends, and I would say my interest includes football, okay? Look at the differences. Would it be possible to visit? I'd be really interested in visiting if at all possible. Or it would be absolutely amazing to see. Okay, would it be possible to visit? This is another tip for you to take into consideration when writing, okay? Never use questions in formal or semi-formal. Use them when writing informal emails or letters with friends. Don't use it, okay, when writing these kind of pieces of paper, pieces of paper. You can use, I'd be really interested in visiting if it's all possible, and it would be absolutely amazing to see. Well, these two are acceptable, but it would be absolutely amazing to see. That is, I think, less formal than this one, okay, less formal than number 7. And then we have number 9, it isn't necessary for the family to connect me because, and don't worry about connecting me because, okay, again, this is totally informal. This is rather formal, okay, it's not what I would choose. I would say there's no need in collecting me because, and then you choose, okay? And well, here we have a model, an example, yes. You're going to read it more carefully then, but let's go quickly through it. Dear sir, madam, okay, dear sir, here this person doesn't know who is he writing to. I am writing to complain about a short holiday I had recently organized by your company. There were several problems with the holiday. Well, this is a complaint semi-formal letter. Here the person is going to say that, to show complaint, yes, is going to refer to problems he or she had, okay, in this case during his or her holidays. First, your advertisement promised a hotel in a central location, whereas in fact the hotel was as a long way from the center. You said all rooms had a river view, but my window overlooked a noisy car park. I had to pay extra for dinner, although you stated that it was included. To make matter worse, I couldn't choose which show to go to. I had hoped to go to a new musical, but I had to go to one I had already seen. I had been looking forward to my holiday very much, but it was completely ruined. I therefore feel that you should refund half of the cost of the holiday in compensation for my disappointment. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Yours faithfully, the signature of Ersin Schmidt. Okay, here we have a model. Now let's go through it more deeper. Do begin by saying why you're writing, okay? That is what I've just told you. And the very first paragraph, you have to give your reason, okay? You don't need to put an address for a letter or either. Yes, don't write the address, don't write the date, just start with the title, Dear Sir or Madam. That is what I would write, because if I don't know if it is a boy or a girl, I would say Madam. Do list your complaint clearly using linking words to connect your actual complaint with the details. Okay, here you have to write your details. Details. What happened? First, you have to order them. First, you're going to rank. Okay, first, variance, but here you are contrasting your ideas. Okay. Although, to make matter worse, okay? And then do make a clear connection between your answer and the task input. Don't repeat exact words in the task input. Okay, this is what happened. What you write here have to be stated by this. This is the support of this part, but you can't repeat your details, okay? And you have to go straight to the point again. Don't run in the bushes, okay? Go straight to the point. Then, when you're writing a letter or an email to someone you don't know, use a semi-formal style. If you don't know their name, a letter starts with dear, sir, or madam. That is what I just told you, because you don't know the name of this person. And ends yours faithfully. Okay, when you don't know the name, you end with your faithfully. But if you do know the name, you start with the name of the person, dear Mr. Johnson or dear Mrs. Johnson, because you know the person and you know if it is a boy or a girl. And you end your letter with yours sincerely, okay? Yours sincerely. Please remember it. It's going to be really useful for you, yes, all the time. Very useful. Yours sincerely when you have the name, yours faithfully when you don't. If you're writing an email, you can use best wishes, but don't write best wishes in this kind of letter. And in a letter, signs and print your full name. Okay, you have to put your signature and then write your name. Okay. Well, this is the explanation of the writing part. What I'm going to ask you to do next week, that is next Monday, not today for Monday, because I know you also need to have time during this weekend. But try to write a semi-formal letter and write an informal email. Remember that the task of the previous unit was an informal email, and I didn't ask you to write one. So please write one and write a semi-formal letter. You can write a semi-formal letter complaining for something. That is, I'm going to send you the task in a PDF file for you to download and to write. Yes, I'm going to upload it tomorrow or on Sunday. But I'm going to give you 2 or 3 days, okay? Don't worry. And please, to finish it all, complete the review. It is from the book, page 25. You have 5 exercises. In exercise 1, you have to complete the second sentence. This is sentence transformation. You have to rewrite the first sentence using the words in bold. In exercise 2, you have to correct the mistakes. In 3, you have to complete the sentences with the adjectives in the box. In 4, you have to adapt the words in bold to fill the gaps. And in 5, you have to complete the sentences with the correct alternative. You have 2 alternatives in each sentence, and you have to choose one. Okay, people, this is the content of this class, yes? But I also want to show you that in the, let me see, okay, there it is. That in the platform, yes, you have there the syllabus, okay, for the course. Here you have the content of the course, very important when time comes to study, and the syllabus of the course, and here you have the answers for the practice paper, yes, the answer for the practice paper I gave you last Friday. But before opening the keys, please do the listening. Here you have the audios to do the listening. Now I'm going to finish this class. I hope to be able to continue the classes in this way, virtually or online, and I hope you to make your effort to go on with the classes. I know that in some cases it's going to be more demanding, yes, I know, but I hope not to waste this valuable time that we have. Remember that the great objective is this one, the FCE, so we're going to try to do our best not to waste time and to take advantage of every situation. Thank you for your attention and hope to get in touch next class.